Welcome back to Sustainable Energy. In this new episode, we are focusing on food. Now, more of us than ever before are trying to eat healthy. According to the US research group Dining Alliance, sales of meatless alternatives in restaurants nearly jumped 270% in the last year alone. But just how much energy does it take to fuel plant-based substitutes? We take a look.
It looks like a beef burger, tastes like a beef burger, but it's not meat.
I'm pretty surprised. I didn't know that a plant-based burger was going to really be this good. It's delicious.
So what is it about these burgers?
It tastes super meaty and juicy. It has coconut for richness and beet juice to give that color and flavor that so many people are accustomed to with meat. It's our #1 seller.
Founded in 2012, Hip City Veg's fast food plant-based menu is a commitment to sustainability.
From the beginning, I knew that plant-based eating is the way to optimal health and to a healthy planet. And I knew that the way to do that is to make it convenient, affordable, and delicious from the very first bite.
But what is in these burgers? Food consultant Ryan Wilson invited us to her kitchen to see for ourselves.
This one, and then it's full of brown rice and other vegetables, so it's much higher in dietary fiber, but lower in protein content. This is the plant-based burger here. It looks like it has some of the fat that a traditional ground beef burger has, but the protein here comes from a pea protein. This is a traditional ground beef burger here. It's really impressive when you see the final products and how far they've come to making an analog to traditional burgers.
Bruce Friedrich co-founded the Good Food Institute in 2016 with a hope of transforming agriculture away from the industrial use of animals and toward plant-based and cultivated meat.
Our current method of producing meat is responsible for more climate change than all forms of transportation combined. Plant-based meat, it's significantly better for the environment. It requires 99% less land, 90 to 95% less water, causes something like 95% less climate change. It doesn't require any of the drugs that are fed to farm animals.
Another alternative to real meat could be meat grown from cells, an ambitious product, but not quite ready for mass markets.
We can take a biopsy from an animal, so a few cells from an animal, bathe those cells in nutrients, those cells will multiply and grow. We'll end up with exactly the same meat, but produced in a much more efficient way, far less climate change, no contribution to antibiotic resistance.
But selling cultured meat to consumers means first convincing big corporations.
We're certainly focused on the biggest legacy meat and food companies, is the ones that would be absolutely game-changing if they jumped both feet into alternative proteins.
For now, restaurant giants such as McDonald's, Burger King, and TGI Fridays already offer meat alternatives. So is this just another fast food fad?
Plant-based meat is for everyone. This is not a billion or $2 billion market. This is a $1.4, $1.5 trillion market. So there's a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of room for participation. And we really do need all hands on deck.
Since April 2017, total plant-based food sales have increased over 30% in the US alone to some $4.5 billion. Retail sales of plant-based meat last year increased 15% to some $800 million, while animal-based meat sales increased just 4%. Statistics that point to continuing change in our eating habits and potential benefit to the planet.
We are back in Brussels at the Urban Farm with Olivier de Schutter from IPS Food. So Olivier, what impact does meat production have on climate change?
Meat production has a major impact on climate change through three channels. First of all, livestock ruminates and large amounts of methane gases result, which is a very potent greenhouse gas. Secondly, we need to produce feedstock for the animals, maize, soybean in particular, and for this we need to clear large forest areas, so deforestation is driven by livestock production. And thirdly, we need to produce fertilizers to grow the soybean, the maize, from which this feedstock shall be made, and that too is a source of greenhouse gas emissions. So altogether, some 19–20% of man-made greenhouse gases come from industrial livestock production.
Is there a sustainable nature-based solution to limit the negative impact and maybe save energy as well?
Well, we need to reduce meat consumption for sure, but the meat that we produce can be produced in a way that is very sustainable. In fact, we need the dejections of animals in order to fertilize the soils. And if we produce meat according to agroecological techniques without resorting to industrial livestock production, we could have less meat perhaps, but better meat, one that is far more sustainable in the way it's produced.
Olivier, how do you see the future of plant-based industry?
Well, because of the impacts of livestock production and the amount of land required to produce feedstock for animals, many people promote the idea of artificial meat. I believe we should be aware that these are extremely energy-intensive processes, especially if they are developed on a large scale, and they shall also result in meat production being concentrated in the hands of a very small number of large firms owning these sophisticated technologies. So it may not be the best and most sustainable solution in the long run.
Is this alternative meat production likely to be useful in the future, to feed the growing world population? What's your prediction?
Well, it's true that demographers warn us that the world's population shall continue to increase. It increases by 78 million persons per year today. And people, moreover, shift their diets because they live more in cities, they have a taste for animal proteins, for more diversified diets, as a result of which the pressure on resources shall continue to increase. However, we should also be aware that in the food systems as they've evolved today, we lose large amounts of food. About 1/3 of the food that is produced is lost or wasted, and we could do much more to improve the efficiency of food production. Moreover, we need to promote diets that are more sustainable, and that means more plant-based, less dependent on animal proteins, in order to reduce the ecological footprint of our diets.
Thanks, Olivier. We've got to take a quick break, but coming up next, we head to Switzerland to find out how technology is promising big changes when it comes to our food habits.
The eventual goal is that we go below 10 kilograms of meat consumption per year.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.